Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
My name's Kenneth Hill. Today I'm going to show you about drones. Now, let me ask you this first. What is a drone? Anybody tell me?
It's an unmanned autonomous vehicle.
You are correct, sir. Definition of a drone: unmanned aircraft or ship that can navigate, cannot pronounce that word, without human control or beyond line of sight, such as GPS or U.S. spy drone. Their definition is any unmanned aircraft or ship that is guided remotely, such as a radio control drone. Now, let's look at a little history of drones here. Earliest recorded use of an unmanned aerial aircraft for warfighting appeared on August 22nd, 1849, when Austrians attacked the Italian city of Venice with unmanned balloons loaded with explosives. How they were controlled: in a favorable wind, the balloons were launched and directed as near to Venice as possible, and being brought to vertical positions over the town, they were fired by electromagnetism, which they were controlled by a long isolated copper wire with a large galvanic battery placed in the building. World War I. First pilotless aircraft, built during and shortly after the war, leading the way using radio control techniques. If developed further, it had been used against Zeppelins, and soon after, on September 12th, the Hewitt-Sperry automatic airplane, which I think that's what that is right there, otherwise known as the flying bomb, made its first flight, demonstrating the concept of unmanned aircraft. There was one in development for the U.S. Army in 1917, but was not finished due to the fact the war ended less than a year later. Skip ahead to World War II. During the war, the U.S. military developed and used drones such as radio planes, aerial torpedoes, and pulse jets. The first drone with a camera was attached to it and developed in 1941, known as Project Fox. The first assault drones were also used during this time period. And this lovely lady right here is none other than Marilyn Monroe. She actually worked on unmanned aircrafts during the war. So I thought that was a very neat little picture. Now the Cold War in Vietnam. The first drones would be the Ryan 147Bs, AQM-34S, piggybacked on C-130s. After completing their missions, they would be parachuted for recovery near Taiwan. Drones were also gunned down by the North Vietnamese communists and captured for their use. Not much is actually known during the Cold War. We probably figured that the USSR had a few in production and mostly kept secret. And they're also used by the U.S. military for nuclear testing, such as looking at the damage after a bomb went off. So, a quick quiz. What is the definition of a drone?
Unmanned autonomous vehicle.
Right. And when was the first unmanned aircraft used?
1840.
The Battle of Venice.
Yes, the Battle of Venice in 1849, August 22nd. So, now we got that over with. Drones today. Let's see what they're used for. Here's some many uses of drones: real estate sales, sports photography, highway monitoring, wildlife research, atmospheric research, hunting, disaster relief, environmental competence, government spying, many military use, and many more. And I got a video here. And this advertisement first. of course, like I said, many more. It's your imagination to use. Some facts from military use. Of course, I repeated that twice. I didn't see that, but primarily for combat purpose. Many drones can fire a variety of weapons such as machine guns, missiles, bombs, you name it probably. The other purpose is land surveying and scouting. Though there is no limit how far an advanced drone can fly, certain drones can fly for 2 days straight without having to stop. And drones are also made to look like airplanes, of course, to avoid suspicion from enemies and allies. And delivery uses. As y'all know, December 2013, Amazon announced that they would make delivery by drones available as an additional option. Delivery drones have been known to deliver items ranging from packages, emergency supplies, foods, drugs, and smuggling stuff across many borders and regions. So I got a few types of drones here in our video for you.
Today on The Futurist, we're going to look at a couple ways to identify them. It's Drone 303, the landscape.
Ostrich drone, rat drone, cat drone? Yeah, those are actual taxidermy animals turned into drones. And while this is the strangest thing we've ever seen, we wanted to explore the more common varieties of drones. So we headed to a hobby store, and here's what we learned. First up, we have trick drones. These tiny and affordable flyers are perfect for kids and beginner hobbyists. They're limited by their flight time, which is typically 8 to 10 minutes, but they're safe for flying indoors and affordable at around $100. Parrot makes a great line of mini drones, like its rolling spider, whose main purpose is to annoy loved ones. Oh, that looks like way too much fun. Next level up, prosumer drones. This is the middle ground between professional and consumer, and the most common ones you'll see. Unlike trick drones, these have the power to carry a payload, which, if you're an aspiring photographer, allows you to add things like a GoPro or a gimbal. The DJI Phantom is the most popular mid-grade prosumer drone. They fly for about 25 minutes, and they'll run you about $1,200. But it is the best way to get some of these amazing shots. GoPros are great, but if you want to fly some serious equipment, you're going to need something this size. These are called heavy payload drones, from pizza and cake deliveries all the way to shooting cinema quality video. But going pro is pricey. These guys can run you more than $15,000, but oh man, I want one so badly. Next week we'll finish our drone class looking at how drones will be used in the future. I mean, we're talking maybe even getting pulled over by a police drone one day. But for now, you've completed course 303, the many types of drones on The Futurist.
So, what are drones made of? Now, this subject, I had a hard time researching on the internet because there weren't many sources, but that's what I found so far. So let's look at the construction of a drone, and that's from an article. A typical drone is made of light composite materials to reduce weight and increase maneuverability. Also, the composite material strength allows it to cruise at extremely high altitudes. They are equipped with state-of-the-art infrared cameras, GPS, laser or GPS-guided missiles, and other top-secret systems. They can be either controlled by remotes or a ground cockpit. Drones come in a variety of sizes, some which can be launched by hand and some require runways. And a UAV system has two parts, a drone itself and a control system. The plane is controlled from the ground by trained combat pilots and or programmers. The surveillance data is also sent satellites from which it is altitudes to avoid, I can't pronounce that, avoid detection, sorry. There's some technology in drones, and I can only find a picture to show you what's in it. This is supposedly the largest drone, which is the Northrop Grumman RQ-4 Global Hawk. Cruises at high altitude. As you can see, it has an Allison Rolls-Royce turbo fan engine, 7,050 pounds worth of thrust. Front, you got a little satellite here to help, with the antenna and all that ground stuff. You have a sensor suit, which includes synthetic aperture radar, electro-optical sensors, and infrared sensors. And you got wings composed of high-strength, lightweight graphite composite material. And if you're to stand up next to it, right there is height. So, Here's how to control a drone. Two different ways, or a few different ways. Controlling by satellite. From takeoff until it leaves the line of sight, the drone is controlled with a direct data link from a ground control station. If the link is lost, the drone is programmed to fly autonomously in circles or return to base until the link can be reconnected. When the drone leaves line of sight, the ground control station switches to a satellite link to control the aircraft. The drone also uses GPA to relay its position. So there's a nice little chart of how it exactly works if you were to fly a military drone. So, now, here's a demonstration on how to fly any old drone itself. There's their advertisement.
So missing. I'm terrible.
Hi, my name is Corey Smith, and today we're going to be going over the basic controls of a quadcopter. If you already know what the controls are, then you can go on to the next video, How to Fly a Quadcopter Part 1. So all the individual controls usually have a few names associated with them. So the first control is called roll, which will literally roll the quadcopter. Next we have pitch, which will make the quadcopter tilt forward or backwards. Then yaw, which will rotate left or right. And finally throttle, which will make it go up or down. So those are the four main controls on a quadcopter, and everything else is pretty much optional. All those switches that you see up there pretty much do nothing. Well, I mean, they don't do nothing, but I'll get to that in a second. But first, one of the best things that you can do before you even get off the ground is learn how to hold the controller properly. You don't have to do this, but I strongly recommend that you use 2 fingers to grip the controls. It usually gives you a lot better accuracy that way, and your thumbs don't hurt after a while of flying. The next thing I'm going to talk about are flight modes. There's 2 main ones. The first is called manual or rate mode, which is kind of like flying a helicopter. Once you tilt the quadcopter, it's not going to auto level itself, it's just going to keep going. The next is called attitude or auto level, which actually will level itself out once the sticks are centered. There's also a flight mode called GPS hold, which will hold the quadcopter's position once the sticks have been centered. It's pretty much like attitude mode, but with a GPS. To access the different modes, they're usually on a 3-position switch like this one. Although most quadcopters are different, so you have to look at your manual to see where is the flight mode switch located if you bought one that's ready to fly. So those are the basic controls of a quadcopter. So if you like this video, you can subscribe. You can also go to my website, myfirstdrone.com, where you'll find a lot of useful information, and I'll see you in another video.
So, real quick, look at the drones in the future. I got a few ideas of how they might be used. Some possible future uses. Might send one on a space mission, commercial flights, and take it to Hawaii and nobody's flying. Representing flying animals, so you might have a drone that looks like a bird flying over the sky. And personal transportation, almost like commercial flights, but you want to hop on your drone, fly to New York, you can do that. Let's look at a little, this picture on the web, look at a little drone humor. I think you'll like this video here as well. part that we all been waiting for. Give me just a second, hook this up, get it running right. I would like to thank Jason for letting me borrow this for a day. I'm going to admit, I've only been practicing this for about a day, so if this crashes. If this does crash, I do apologize. Make on somebody's head.
right?
Yeah. Make on somebody's head here, let's see.
alert.
I think the battery's already dead on it.
Charge the battery.
I charged it right before I left the house and it just flew off, but it's sitting right there on the floor.
Get it for Tyler.
Appreciate it, Tyler. See if I can lift it off again. And the battery's died, that's a shame. But Tyler's going to come back up here again. I'm going to hand it around the room, let everybody look at it real quick.
What's the battery life of these things? How long does it take to recharge? How long does it take to recharge? Today? How long does it take to recharge?
I'd guess about an hour, and it'll take like 7 to 10 minutes of flight time, so
Right. I
I guess it loses the charge quickly now that I just found out, so.
You can tell that it is sort of very niche for
Right.
a niche market in terms, because you don't really get all like flight time.
Oh, yeah. I think his is $100, but I looked at my web, so the better, I said the better I could get, more flight time and all that.
And I assume that the technology will improve
Oh, yeah.
over time.
Next 20, 25 years, like I said, drones will do everything for you. While everybody's looking at that, I want to pull up a video from my drive that I flew around the classroom yesterday. At least get to see something here, what I've done with it. And I was basically playing around with it, getting the feel up still, so I ain't gonna keep it up there much longer. But
Supposed to fly.
if you want to see the rest, it's I'm seeing in the classroom, but just did some fooling around with it. So here's another quiz, test your knowledge. I'll ask you once more, what is a drone? What time period were the first assault drones developed?
The 1840s.
That's true, but the answer is World War II. Anybody name a few uses for drones?
Photography,
Right,
Delivery,
right. One more.
military,
You got it. Name one type of drone if you can.
phantom,
Correct.
Predator.
Right. I heard those up too. Here's a tough one. Name a component inside a drone.
Gyroscope.
antenna,
All right.
the Rolls Royce and receiver at large.
And how do you control a drone via satellite? And this in your own words.
GPS tracking.
A satellite inside the drone communicates with a satellite in space, which communicates with via satellite, maybe a satellite device, which is radio signals, and it's transmitted to the drone, and the drone then does what you want.
You are correct. Anybody got any questions, comments, concerns about drones?
What sort of camera is in the drone?
This one right here?
Yes.
I'm not sure on the type, but it's, if I can tell you the quality, it's very low megapixels. As you probably saw in the video up there, like
Yeah.
1 or 2 megapixels, but I'm not certain on the camera.
So it was built in?
Yeah, it's, I mean, it basically came with it, so.
That's good, my camera, pretty cool.
Anybody else? No? All right, everybody, thank y'all for coming here and have listened to me for 20 minutes, so.
All right.